what's happening, Paranormal Peeps, Richard Oliver. This video, I'm going to talk to you about the dangers and some of the pitfalls of the paranormal. Now, as most of you who have experienced the paranormal, most of the people who have contacted me, I've had a bit of a fear response to the paranormal. Now, it's hard when you've been through something that is potentially scary or life-altering, not to let it affect you. And there is a wonderful, spiritual, and amazing side to the paranormal, but yet there is danger to it. Now, if you are starting out and you want to go out looking to see if you can capture anything or contact spirit in any way, shape, or form, just don't do it because you've seen somebody on telly or YouTube investigating the paranormal, because you may find yourself in a pretty bad situation. Now, I've been doing this a long time. I've done quite a few cases, and most of the cases I've done, I still keep in contact. I've never walked away from a case unless I've been compromised. And like 5 cases I've probably been to probably nearly 200 times in visits and different things. Just 5 cases, and I've done hundreds and hundreds. You need to know some things before you start out in this field, and that is in regards to anything. That's in regards to if you want to become a medium, or if you want to communicate and contact spirit. If you're using tarot, fairy cards, crystals, if you're using spirit boards or Ouija boards. Now, when it comes to Ouija boards, now, strange fact is that the name Ouija actually was given to itself by the board, which is very strange. Apparently, it's Egyptian for good luck. Spirit boards, different thing. It's the intent. Now, if you're using one of these devices, I know people have used them for years and years and years and years. Never had any problems at all. I know some people have used them once and had a nightmare. So things like that, it's down to you. Now, there is the old adage that a Ouija board in its creation was tainted, so therefore Ouija boards that are made ever since, and I was a firm believer in this. But if you create something yourself, or if you make a spirit board and put your intent into that creation, then that gives it its own protection. It's like crystals. If you have them blessed or you ask them to do a specific job, so to keep you protected and keep negativity away from you. So it's your intent. Now, I've used spirit board many times, and I've used other devices. Now, people ask me, like, if you use, say, a ghost box app, do you have to protect it? Well, it would just be prudent to do it, just to say, nothing negative may use this device or come through and communicate with us in any way, shape, or form. This is only for beings of love and light. And you set an intention. That's the precedent you set. So, in regards to the paranormal, now, when I started out many years ago, and I started in the church, I kept having negativity bombard my meditations. Now, obviously, in the light of the way the world is, there was numerous occasions where I thought, is it me? Is it just the neg in me? And I didn't realize it was because of what I was going to deal with in regards to the paranormal and investigating it. Now, if you follow the channel, you might have heard me talk about being cursed. So I want to explain that because Jess, whose case it was, actually wants to talk about it, and she wants to come forward and talk about it. So, and I've asked her, and she's given me permission to talk about it myself, because, you know, it is Very intense, very personal. But these are the circumstances of why I believe I got cursed. I did the case 10 years ago now, and it was just over something as simple as a sleep bot, which is a device that records you while you're sleeping. Went to the case, and as soon as I walked in, the energy in this home was incredible. And she was a practicing witch. She was having help, and she had done some family research. Now, in her family, there was a direct link to, shall we say, devil worship. I wouldn't say Satanism because it's a different thing. And there was direct family ties to occultists and Nazis. And the house she happened to live in was a drug house and a prostitute house, and somebody had lost their lives in this property. And what happened was you mix all that in together. Now you can only have just one intention or one negative force. And when you mix all that paranormal together, it becomes something else. And it created the perfect paranormal storm. So any intention set in regards to anyone to do with the property or the property itself was insanely magnified. And I spent years going through the different aspects and trying to see if we could fix that, and the next one, move on and so forth. I actually have um, a ghost box session we did in the home, and it's just talking about biblical stuff, and it was quite bizarre. We never really filmed much back in the day because when I started that case, I actually had a group called Paranormal Wales, which also was brought down by negativity. And that's the one thing you can't have. You have a group and there's people who disagree and they're talking behind each other's backs and they have any malice and you're doing the paranormal, you're in for a world of trouble. So, as the case went on, we got to the point where I had to destroy a set of objects. Now, what had happened was there was written spells done in these two objects. They called a Book of Shadows. Now, the darkness and the cruelty and the neg that was in this property had poured itself into the last object left. And because it knew it it was his last fight. It was his last desperate attempt to do something. And after years and years of getting to the last part and getting to that point, I destroyed the books. And in my haste, I didn't read them, didn't research them. I knew how to destroy them. But in hindsight, I did it wrong. And this neg that was attached to these books and the premise of the books were these spells that anybody did anything to these books would bear the weight of something or have bad luck, if you like. It kind of magnified the outcome. And I can't go into too much detail because there's a lot of personal accounts in this case, but it couldn't affect me. I took myself out of the equation. And as mad as this is going to sound, parapeeps, the gist of it was that I had a series of events that affected my life after doing and destroying these books. And they all had an effect on relationships and my own personal one. And they started to affect me up here. Now I had absolutely no one to turn to. I had people who was trying to give me advice, but it just it wasn't really good advice. Um, I had people telling me that like any magic, it's if you believe it with a curse. If you believe it, then it gives it power. Now, obviously, up to this point, I've been doing paranormal a long time, and I know psychology. Um, this was something else because this was you couldn't get to me in the way you wanted, so it started to affect the people around me, and it come at a great cost, a really great cost, and it took years and years for me to get what I am now, to get through it all, to dust myself off and get back to it. And the only saving grace from doing that was the fact I did it with love, because I wanted to see the person I was helping succeed and move forward with their lives. And that was the only saving grace. If I'd done it for, say, publicity, if I'd done it for ego or any other things like that, I would have been, I can promise you, absolutely knackered. I'd have been done for. And there's been a couple of occasions doing the paranormal where possession, and a close friend of mine saw possession for real, and the fear of that, unfortunately, opened the doorway to them to be susceptible to neg. And I've been possessed myself on a case. Me and Jazz Jeff just happened out of the blue going there for a completely separate reason, and something just, well, just had me, just took over me. It's on the channel. It's called "It Was Inside Me" is the title, which we did have a very good laugh about. But it it just took me by surprise, and I tell the truth, I thought my number was up. And there has been a really big cost to being a paranormal investigator. Now, you see loads of them out there and they just get scares, and sometimes what you see can cause harm. Just seeing it. I always say this to people: what you see, you can never unsee. And it's not something to be used or abused. But the paranormal at the moment is changing, and the world is changing. And people are becoming more open and tuned, and there seems to be a reach for a better self, if you like. And there seems to be a lot of people coming up through into wanting to do mediumship and spirituality and healing and different things. And I've seen the paranormal try to teach us something. Spirit try to teach us something. If you look at Laney and Ben's, for example, that haunting and the way they've experienced it and what they've gone through and the way they just treat it has changed the outcome. It's made it something we can learn from. And I sometimes you think, and what I've dealt with, how can spirit be allowed to do that? But I tell you something, everything that's ever tried, and you can check this out for yourself, guys, anyone who's ever tried to put love, light, peace in the world has had quite a sticky end, not true? And a spirit's way of getting us to understand things and maybe look at things a bit more spiritual, and open our hearts up to the possibilities that there is more than what we think we know. And I have, like I said, when I was in the church, if we go back to the beginning, when I was in the church, I didn't realize, I kept thinking, why isn't this neg, constant neg, neg, neg? And it was only because I was going to face that. And I've only faced that in the nearly 20 years I've been doing this, a handful of times. Real neg, real darkness. Um, but still, I was going to face it. And it can undo all the things you do. Like I've been at the point in my life where I've been absolutely zen. I've had absolute confidence in my power and the way I live my life and the love I feel inside myself. And it can kick that right in the googlies. Um, and that's where it's powerful. The psychology behind what they'll do to manipulate you is astounding. And it was the thing that shocked me the most about this field was the level of manipulation and psychology that these things can use on you, and the world around you will not see it. An example with the case, I was the only one who believed it, that I was going through this, and nobody really believed that I was. And I was just on my own with it. I just went through it completely on my own because everybody around me at the time needed me. And it it is quite something, and I'm not trying to put you off, and I don't want you to be put off by what I'm telling you. I just want you to be aware of it. If you're aware of it, I have many occasions where, like I said, I've been caught short, and I've just gone, just dealt with it. It's just to know it's there. And some people will go through their lives and never experience it. They'll do the paranormal and they won't experience that level of neg and manipulation. But it's there. And it is, from my point of view and what I've done because of the people I've helped and the amount of house cases and people I've helped, then you know it's inevitable. You're going to come across something that is going to, can be potentially world changing. As a whole, it's been incredible. And the people I've met and the things I've discovered and the world I've seen has been just, it's not words to describe it. It's like trying to talk in the last video about mediumship. There's no words that can really put it into words what it's like to see a spirit, or what it's like to encounter something, or what it's like to have communication. Um, it's not, there's no words to sum it up. For me, I am always and will be forevermore because of that. Very cautious because of, like I said, being possessed and that case. And I'll talk to it in more depth with you guys, to Jess, when we're going to do like an interview type scenario, and talk about all the little things that happened, because there's a lot. And yeah, I just wanted to do this video just to tell you that it really can be, if you're going into this and you're going into this with naivety or ego or anything like that, don't be surprised if you start to find yourself in a funny place and with really weird things happening around you, and feeling it in there. And if you're aware of it before it happens, you're fine. You know, it's like always be prepared. And it can be, I've been scared to the point where I've run. Before I started investigating the paranormal, I was scared to the point where I've fallen and run and fled. And it frightened me, frightened bits out of me, because I was, to me, I was going through it on my own. And it, it can be amazing and, like I said, world changing. But just be aware that there are dangers to the paranormal. To doing anything with the paranormal, to communicating using a device, to anything. It's your intent. Even mediums who have like negative intent, or they're doing it for the wrong reasons, will come up against it. They really will. And they'll, honestly, you've seen this. I've been doing this so many years, and I've watched paranormal investigators and teams come and go. I've watched mediums come and go. I've watched the best of the best been brought down, and I've just stayed where I am. And because to me, the most important thing that I've ever gained from doing this is helping people, and that has always been the most gratifying and satisfying reward. of being a paranormal investigator is seeing someone's opinions change of it and seeing putting that light back into them and their confidence growing is just you can't there's no money that can make that up. But yeah, it can be really, guys, you really have to do your research, you really have to know what you're up against. I know it's not all demon, and you know you spirits are given the opportunity and have a lot to say, and they will take said opportunity and they will try to communicate with us and change our opinions. And now in the world as the way it is, I think that's going to happen a lot more because we're not listening to teachers or sense, if you like. um it needs a little bit something a little bit more dramatic, and that's why you're going to see the paranormal changing, and that's why a lot of people are contacting us at the moment, well, myself, and I'm trying to guide them and help them. But just, just to be aware, it can be dangerous. Like I said, if I had been a different person, or if I'd been in a different place, when that's just a smidgen of how extreme it can be. But if I'd been in a different place, a different person, a different mindset, when these things happened to me, I would have been done for. I promise you. You wouldn't be having this conversation. You wouldn't be watching this video. So yeah, it can be rough. It can be a rough ride. It depends. If you go into the local houses and you're going around to abandoned places, but there's a place local in Wales where there is an entity that resides, and I've had over 30 people who's gone there at separate times encountered this being, and some of it's been really bad. Some of it's been really bad. I mean, they like literally seen them in their room. They've seen them when they're out. This thing appears to them. It's in their mind. So just if you're gonna go down this road with anything, talking to spirit, you have to know why. And trust me, spirit really know why, but you have to know why. And communicating, you want to know what you want, and really for what reason, what is the real reason behind it with anything. And if there's good intention and there's positivity or love or the hope for the truth, sorry, my phone just doesn't stop. Then you're all right. If there's any intention of gain, greed, profit, ego, anything like that involved, you're done for. I promise you. Like I said, when I had Paranormal Wales, there was people didn't trust these people, other people in the group. They didn't like them. They thought they were overtaking and being too much and this and that. Oh my God. And I called a meeting and I said, guys, it's all gonna end now. If you don't sort this out, it's all gonna end. It did, quite dramatically. Because you're gonna come across things as you look at the world. It's not all sunshine and roses. There's a lot of people out there who, because of the system, because of society, are quite self-absorbed, should we say. And these things love that, love it. And yeah, I hope that made sense, and I hope that give you an idea of just how dangerous the paranormal can be. I try not to make you scary, could, but I'm just trying to trying to tell you stories and trying to tell you that there is danger in the paranormal field, and it's and not in the sense of like you could be hurt by a spirit in a physical sense where they could throw something at you or harm you. It's what they can do to this. That's the danger. That bones and wounds can be fixed. That's a lot harder to fix, guys. So yeah. that's it basically. That's just what I wanted to tell you, that be aware, do the research, talk to people who's been in the field for a long time. um, Find out how to protect yourself. Make sure you protect yourself. It doesn't matter what you believe in. You can be an atheist. It doesn't matter. You can believe in the light and love of others. You can believe in the light. If you're looking for spirit, you don't believe in God. You can think it's something completely scientific or something else. You can still believe in love. Love is a protection that keeps us safe and is a barrier to these things. So it is lovely night, people. Oh yeah, a couple of things coming up. I am going to Laney and Ben's on Saturday. This Saturday coming, and I'm so looking forward to it. I'm going to meet Sammy. I'm going to do some cool stuff. Keep an eye out for that, guys, because it'll be coming on the channel soon. As always, love and light, power peeps. I will see you in the next video. You take care.